Happy Multichroma Day! I'm so excited for this video because Clionadh has a new formula to add to their stained glass collection, and it is the jeweled light. So essentially they're the jeweled multichromes, however they do not have such a strong dark base. And I did receive these in PR from Clionadh Cosmetics, so thank you so much Clionadh for sending these over. There are 11 shadows in this formula, so it is not all the shades that are in the original jeweled formula. I believe there's over 20 in that one. These are going to be launching July 20th, and they're going to also be on sale at the same time, and you will be able to stack codes, and my affiliate code is Millie. I will put up on the screen. So these will retail for about $19 each USD, and that is the same as the current jeweled multichromes. So I'm going to be doing eye swatches. I'm going to be showing you these each compared to the original jeweled multichromes, as well as some swatch comparisons between other brands, as well as other multichromes from Clionadh. All the eye swatches are done over bare lids with a brush that I did mist with just some water to kind of help spread these around, and I did really try to blend the edges so you could see just how these blend out, because it is very obvious with the black base jeweled multichromes that you can see once they're blended out you start to reveal that black base. So with these you should not. After eye swatching all of these and swatching them a few times on the back of my hand, I do feel like they're kind of an in-between the black base multichromes and the deep iridescent multichromes, and some of these are also still pretty dark and pretty jeweled looking because I think it's just the tone of them. I also noticed that some of the light versions are a little bit different in tone of the color. The shift is the same, but the tone, like kind of straight on, looks a little bit different. There's a couple of shades like that. You will see that in the swatch comparison to the original jeweled multichromes. I think this is a nice assortment that Clionadh decided to make light versions of. You've got your greens, you got your purples, you got some blues, and of course some more neutral leaning multichromes. I definitely have some favorites just from even just the initial swatch that I fell in love with, and I think some of these are brighter than others. In the first swatch, I did use a flatter brush to apply, and I do think that these pick up and apply easier with a slightly toothier brush. So I'm using the Rephr 28 brush, and I think it worked really nicely. These are very smooth. They're very, very shiny. Some of them might have just the tiniest bit of texture as you're picking them up from the pan, but they do really, really smooth out just absolutely beautifully. I do think with a few of these, when you pair them even with lighter mattes, you will still get a more jeweled, deeper, smokier kind of look. And for the swatch comparisons, I did not include every black base multichrome for those because I do have a dedicated video where I swatched all the Clionadh jeweled multichromes against other brands. So I will link that video down in the description box, but I just felt like it was a little redundant to include all of those shades when you can already see to a shadow with a black base. It's just very obvious that these are a bit on the lighter side. However, they're not as light as some of their other formulas, such as the Deep Iridescence, Earthshine, and Hybrid, and you can see that especially in the very last comparison featuring Sandblast Light. As for my favorites, definitely Kiln, Sandblast, Burnish, and Forge Light. All of those have such a nice brightness to them, and I do think some of them are actually better versions than the original jeweled multichromes. So I think these are for anyone who is not the biggest fan of the black base multichromes but wants something similar. I definitely think that you could layer these over a black base if you wanted that effect. In terms of the brand that these are most similar to, I think that will be the Shelly multichromes that are darker, though some of them do have a black base. Some of them are a little bit more translucent, and I do have a dedicated video on these, but you will see these compared in the swatch comparison. I almost included the Hidden Treasures multichromes that I have from Shamay SD. However, a lot of those do have still quite a bit of a black base, so they were just not really comparable to these, though they do have quite a bit of sparkle. So the formulas vary between all the different brands. I do really love the smoothness of these because I think that you could especially shear out Sandblast and Kiln and Burnish as well just a bit, and that way it would just really melt into the skin. I think some of the neutral leaning colors in this formula have a potential to be used just with one matte as a one and done shadow, but of course that all depends on your preference. Out of all the shade, I think Spire is the darkest, and it just does have a little bit more of the base to it. I do think that Patina is the shade that I see the least difference in between the two formula variations. I would love to hear your thoughts on these, especially after watching the comparison to the original Jeweled Multichromes. Which shade is your favorite? Do you see yourself using these more than the black base versions? Do you plan on picking any of these up? I would love to hear your thoughts. And all of the details of the sale and the launch time will be in the description box. So I really hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to my channel, I will love it if you subscribe. There's so much multiple content uploading my channel and much more to come, including a dedicated video on the other new formula, the dimensionals, that is coming up tomorrow. So stay tuned for that for sure. Turn on that notification bell button, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.